Hey guys, this is National Master Kevin Yang back at it with another video. So remember how I told you, right? At this point, the knight is going back. Anton is making a very strategic maneuver, going the right way, right? And I think this is very cheeky. But here, I take this pawn, and I knew it was a mistake the moment I took it. This is where I say, Anton set a trap, and I fell into it. So what happened? Why is this a trap? Well, knight takes g7. Saying if knight takes g7, queen to d3, and that is good night for the knight. So I have to play king takes g7. But there's rook f7 and king to h8. So king to g8 is much worse. Queen to f5. If we play knight here, there's going to be queen g6 with queen to g7 checkmate. So I play king to h8. One move off. Queen to f5 once again. Right, aiming for that h7 checkmate. I play knight h2 f6. There are so many ways to win here. One being knight c3, just deflecting this knight, right? So this knight protects this knight, but it's overloaded. So for example, if knight takes c3 happens, well, b takes c3, and all of a sudden this knight is not protected. Cannot be protected because otherwise there's checkmate. And otherwise there's queen g6, forcing queen g8, and there's queen to f6. So it would be game over. And if any other move, queen to c8, well, queen to g6, queen to g8, bam, bam, knight takes knight. Well, not knight takes knight because the rook is hanging, but just move the rook over. Rook to d7. Or rook takes c7, knight to f6. Well, in any case, knight to b5, knight takes d6, knight f7. I mean, it's gone. I'm gone. It's not working for me. So instead, I am very lucky that our friend Anthon2010 did not find knight to c3. Queen to g6 happened, the second best move. I think this was a wonderful move as well. Queen to g8 takes, knight to h7. So I'm on my last defense now. Knight to f6, I'm just retreating, hoping for a miracle. Knight to c3, rook to f8. Here I'm saying, maybe I can relieve some pressure, trade rooks. And here came h3, and at this moment this gave me time. Now time is of the essence in chess games, and here it really showed why. One of the moves white could have played is the move knight to f5, because at this moment the knight is going to attack d6, and white is going to have the opportunity to play rook to g7. So in both ways, this move is very crushing. Like for example, if my queen moves, there's checkmate, right? And if I play rook to f7, well then there is knight to e7, saying I'm going to go to g6, and your king's going to go die. So it's not working out. So what happens now? h3. h3 gives me time, and I say, please, trade rooks. We trade, and now king to g2. This was, I believe, Anthon was in time pressure as well. So this was the game that tilted the scales, king to g2. Once again, I point to the same reason that I got success from last move, and that is time. Time is of the essence here. So what did white have to do here? Knight to f5. If knight takes d5, there is knight takes d6. And if I try to play something like queen to f3, there's probably something like queen to g6 and knight to f7. because white is going to be able to run the king, and white will be okay. But the problem is this is unstoppable. So it really creates for tension. Um, so instead, g4 could have also been a move. In reality, though, this pawn didn't quite matter. So for example, if white played something like g4, and I played something like knight takes d5, it didn't quite matter because, well, queen takes d6, knight takes e3, bishop takes e3, queen to f3, queen takes pawn, and c7. Like, this pawn carries a lot of weight in winning the game. So I'm busted here, but king to g2 happens. And now I have knight to e4, saying I have counterplay. I have play on the king, and if you go knight to d1 to try to stop it, I play queen takes d5. I put more pressure. If you play c7, well, the worst I can do is just attack the pawn, right? So it gets messy now. So in the game, knight to g4 was played, queen takes d5, king to h2. Now, this is so hard to figure out in time pressure, but c7 is the move. And to the people who really think, this move, leaves the discovery open, right? Well, one thing to notice is that this discovery, there's no really good square for this black knight to move to that attacks anything unprotected. So here it attacks nothing because the knight is protected. Here it attacks nothing because the king can take. It attacks nothing here. It attacks nothing here. It attacks nothing here. So essentially this knight is useless, right? So that's why c7 was the move. But king h2 happened, and I said, thank you. Thank the Lord. But here I played queen to d3 because I said, even though I can take here, then I can play queen to c2, I kind of feel like I can wait about this a bit. I can go for checkmate. And after queen to e6, that was the fatal error, because if white played bishop to e3, queen to c2, king to g1, and if I ever played queen takes c6, there's knight takes e5. So this is very tricky. Like, I wouldn't be able to spot this in a bowling game, but it's there. The tricks are there. It was a very tricky position. But instead, queen to e6 happens, saying, I want a perpetual, I want a perpetual, I want to end this game. But I got to get some checks in. Check, take the bishop with check, 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 check. So I'm just figuring out where to put my queen. And I figure out that I have to get rid of this c6 pawn. And I do. And now I come back to trade knights because I'm under time pressure. I'm like, I cannot deal with this. So eventually I convert this position slowly and surely with checkmate. So how did I win this game? Well, I didn't. Logically, I didn't win the game. I was completely losing about 80% of the time. This b6 move just basically said, I'm going to accept the fate that if something great does not happen on the king side, I'm going to get screwed. That's essentially the kind of attitude I went in. I went all in, wanted to see how it goes. It didn't go great. So then, I tried to attack, and knight to f2 was a big mistake. Because I prevented our friend from castling. Anton found a way after knight f2, castles, and you could see that my knight here was very badly misplaced. So After queen c2, I had to spend so much time trying to bring it back into the game. Knight to c5, knight to g6, and here Anthon did a really good job of taking advantage of the weaknesses. But again, my knights, they look powerful, but they're not very powerful. They're just intimidating, you know? It's like you see somebody, but you're only judging them based upon where their position is. But if you look at the knight deeper and you realize the kind of role that that knight has, then you're finally going to see, oh, that knight is useless. It's there just for fun. Knight to f4, and at this point, a little bit before, right, it was time to say h4, queen to g4. It was time to start dismantling the position. Time is of the essence, and you could see that my pieces on the back rank, they just weren't ready to handle that pressure. So that would have caught me off guard. But instead, I got some time and I fell into one of Anthon's traps. I should have definitely lost here. Knight to c3 was another one of those moves. And here, h3 gave me some time after trading rooks. And knight to e4, giving me the counterplay I need. And remember, c7. This discovery is of not much use. So in the game, I got this bishop, and at this point, I was just trying to get the pawn slowly converted, and what can I say? I did not deserve to win this game, but I did. So chess is sometimes just lucky, most times skill, and 100% harder than it looks. So winning a one position is very hard. Losing a lost position is very easy. So winning is very difficult. And with that, don't care about, like, don't have this kind of spirit that you're going to win, you're going to put in all the effort you can, and have fun. Spark your curiosity, look where you want to go, and just go with it. Sometimes the plan will not work out, but it's all about that determination. It's all about where you want, and it's about, if it works or not. If it doesn't work, then next time around, improvise and you will get that win. I believe in you, and I'll see you next time.